Robert Frank said, "Above all, life for a photographer cannot be a matter of indifference." Whilst I expressed the same thoughts in my first oral presentation, this last trip really brought the point home. The project has always been a personal mission, an incomplete story. But this time I felt that my role as a photographer is merging with my historic role as an educator. I can't just observe, I am in my project. First, a recap. It is about the unfinished stories of people that we have known for almost 20 years through our school building program who survived the Khmer Rouge genocide. I want to bring their stories to new audiences with thought-provoking work to get people to reconsider the genocide and its implications today. In Cambodia, I want to contribute to further opening up the discussion about this painful subject, which is often hidden. Internationally, I want to reach an audience who may have forgotten or not even know about the lessons of the genocide. This will necessitate a book and an installation, firstly in Phnom Penh and then internationally. In my youth, I was drawn to photographers such as Don McCullum. For a while, I seriously considered photojournalism as a career. I felt the need to get out there and find the truth for myself. But I guess life prevailed. Still, a documentary ethos has been with me as long as I've been taking photographs. From my first Cambodian visit in 1994, I documented what we found in words and pictures. However, I didn't really capture individual stories. So, throughout the MA, I have been researching documentary techniques, aftermath, and conflict photography. The work of Lindsay Addario and James Nachtwey always holds strong attraction. Both are on the front line of world events, and both have a wonderful sense of timing. Addario is especially good at isolating detail to complete a visual story. I do, however, find that Nachtwey's best work carries a more emotional punch. He combines strong graphic composition with juxtaposition of subjects to create tension. The work of Chris Hondros is also inspiring. Besides taking strong journalistic images, he actively went back to help the people he photographed. A blend in his professional and personal roles, perhaps. Moises Salmon's book Discordia is one of the most beautifully produced that I have come across this year. Interestingly, he successfully mixes colour and black and white in the same book, a challenge that I also face. And I must mention Roman Vishniak's work, currently exhibited at the Photographer's Gallery. It is the best show that I've seen this year, and shows that it is possible to both document a story and create beautiful, candid portraits. At Paris Photo, I met with Max Pinkers, this year's winner of the Oscar Barnack Prize from Leica. His work in North Korea used exaggerated lighting to draw attention to an otherwise banal environment. His work has some similarities with Richard Moss. They both use faux colour, faux lighting, to tell their stories by challenging audience perceptions. That's exactly what I am trying to do with my work. My last work in progress told Surat's story as a teenager walking through the jungle, evading the Khmer Rouge, to check that his mother was still alive. I employed traces, implications of the journey, rather than classical documentary. This owes much to the work of Sophie Risselhuber and others. To avoid the clichés of dark tourism, which I originally fell foul of, in landings I explored an even more experimental approach. I used digital negatives, designed to both provoke the audience and create a need for active participation in the deciphering of the imagery. Anthony Cairns' practice is relevant. He makes film negatives and then does various manipulations, digital and physical. Intriguing, though I find his work rather observational. The stories lack humanity. I have thus been experimenting with the idea of combining the Traces documentary with digital negatives, literally putting humanity into those negatives. I am aware that my work in progress will be controversial. Some seem to like the challenging aesthetic, while others find it too beautiful for the subject, gentle, or frankly just inappropriate. Still, I feel that it does provide a challenging and unusual imagery. I love the debate it provokes, and it is exactly what I want to kickstart. Yu Chang is the director of the Documentary Center of Cambodia. They have the world's largest collection of archival data on the Khmer Rouge leaders and genocide. He showed me one of the Rolleiflex cameras used to take the tool sling mugshots. Michel Caswell, in Archiving the Unspeakable, noted that once the photograph was taken, the inexorable bureaucratic process of torture, confession, and execution took place. The camera was part of the apparatus of killing. I shared my landings work with Yuke. He pondered and described the work as a prayer from hell. We immediately agreed to use that as the title of my new series. This module I've shot a wide range of new work. Documentary, including schools. Traces for the work in progress. I've also visited hidden killing fields that tourists very rarely see. And I made some new, more intimate portraits, though frankly, not enough. I collaborated with local professionals to finalize high-quality video of several of the personal stories. And I extended my network in Phnom Penh. I started to get to know book printers, publishers, and marketeers. There are not many galleries in Phnom Penh, but there are some good ones, so I did the rounds once more to scope out opportunities. I also met several local photographers and artists. Whilst painters such as M. Riam are dealing occasionally with the genocide issue, there is not a lot of exploration by photographers. Mac Remissa uses allegorical images to explore social issues, and I think that does have bearing on my project. I'll meet Mac next time. There is a well-established annual photo event, the Phnom Penh Photo Festival, and I intend to explore that next year. At the festival, I met another exhibitor, La Mo, who showed kindness was a fascinating take on how people helped each other during the annual floods. We are discussing the idea of shooting collaboratively next year. I have a reasonably good online profile, reflecting my business interests and long-standing ownership of various websites. However, I need to build a much stronger photographic brand. I have created an artist statement reflecting the work this module on my photographic DNA and thoughts on my future practice, and it's already helping me to revamp my website. I've also conducted several fairly successful experiments on Instagram, documented on my CRJ. Looking forward, there are many things to work on in 2019. First, once I believe my portrait work is starting to show more intimacy, I do not yet have a consistent way of seeing and working inside the documentary. I will continue to do mini portrait and storyline projects to develop my skills. Secondly, my digital negatives can be considered digitally contrived and possibly sterile. I plan to experiment with film in 2019 and other manipulation techniques. Thirdly, Jesse and others have challenged me to better define my post-MA practice. I have no intention of becoming a full-time photographer, though I do want to approach the assignments that I take on a professional basis. I also want to be seen as someone who delivers high-quality work. Fourthly, I need to practically make the Cambodian project happen. That is a lot of work. And finally, I need to start looking at my archives to see how best to use them in the overall project. 2019 will be a fascinating, if challenging, year. Thank you for listening.